Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Gill here. Welcome back to week 2 of Year 10 Geography. In this video, we're going to look through what you need to be working on in week 2 to make sure you're staying on top of your geography studies. If we look down here into week 2, we are covering poverty in Africa, we're looking at improving schools, and we are going to start looking at the cost of war on well-being. At the very end of week 2, you also have a review quiz, which tests your knowledge of both week 1 and week 2 topics. Remember, if you do finish your stuff early, I do have some extra or extension activities you can have a look at. And of course, as always, if you have any questions, please email me or call the school. That way I can help you as best I can. So we're going to scroll down to our week 2 activities, which start with poverty in sub-Saharan Africa. So again, we are having a look at this poverty map that we saw in week 1. This time, however, the description is going to tell you more about this sub-Saharan Africa region. We know based upon the poverty map that Africa is has the largest percentage of people which live under the poverty line, which is living less than $1.25 a day. So all you need to do here for this is read the information, review your knowledge of the poverty map that you saw before, and have a look at this question down here. Now this is a bit of a brainstorming area here. With these, there's no right or wrong answers necessarily. If you're really struggling with brainstorming this, you may want to Google some answers to help you. So what you're looking for is poverty. We know it's caused by lots of different things. It doesn't just happen because you don't make enough money. We're looking here at brainstorming some natural factors, for example, environment and climate. How does that actually impact poverty and how people make money? And also government and aid, looking at if the government has any corruption or if there is foreign aid that actually helps that country. So brainstorm some indicators here, brainstorm some ideas that might help explain why Africa or this sub-Saharan region has the highest level of poverty in the world. Continuing on, give 3 ideas that might actually improve well-being in the area. Again, this is based upon your own opinion. There's no right or wrong answer there. We're just thinking deeper about what is actually the problem, what is causing this, and what are some ways we might be able to improve that. Here we start to look at the improvement of schools. Now we know there is a big connection, like we learnt last term, between if you go to school, you're more likely to move out of the poverty line. If you have a higher level of education, statistically, you are more likely to earn more money and have a better general well-being overall. So in these less developed countries where they may not even have a school itself, if you were creating a school supply list for them, what do you think they would need? What would be the 10 most sought after things that these kids need? Okay, having an iPhone 10 is not going to be on that list. We're thinking basic things here like pens and paper and books. Alright, down here I've asked you to do a little bit of a research task into an aid organisation of your choice. This aid organisation which you pick, it needs to be one that builds schools or helps improve education in another country. So we don't need to be looking at the Salvation Army in Australia. I want you to pick something that works for another country. It doesn't necessarily have to be Africa. What is an organisation? What do they do? And what do they actually provide to those kids to help them get an education so they can move out of that poverty line and above that? Last thing we're looking at in week 2 is the cost of war on a country. Now, when we talk about the cost of war, we're talking about civil wars and also international wars. We know that these devastate the population, it destroys infrastructure, hospitals, roads, national security may be an issue, and also this term here, arable land. The farming land itself, which in these poorer countries is vital to their survival, becomes desolate, it becomes bombed, it may become a war ground, and normal everyday life cannot happen anymore. I want you guys to look at the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Sometimes you'll hear it referred to as the DRC for short because it's such a long name. So in the DRC, they have a very extensive history of civil war, and it is just not a stable country at all. So have a look at some historical impacts of conflict and how that's impacted the DRC today. If you're using a computer, you can copy and paste some information there, or you can write some notes, some dot points there as a summary. The last thing you need to do for week 2 is to complete this review quiz. This is based upon week 1 and week 2. There's a couple of true or false questions. There's a multiple choice question here. There's an activity where you have to fill in the correct type of indicator. So is it political, social, economic, technological, environmental? Where do these actually fit into? And then we've also got looking a bit of a bigger question here about happiness, security, and well-being. So guys, that's what you need to do for your week 2. Week 2 is definitely smaller than week 1. And as I said, some of you may actually be completing all of your geography work in one sitting. Like I said in the first video, it probably actually won't take you 3 hours to complete because there's not a lot of graphing or map drawing in this unit of work. If you have any questions, email me or call the school. I'm happy to help wherever I can. Make sure that you are submitting your work by the end of week 2, Friday. If you finished your geography work earlier, please submit it to me as soon as you finish it. That way I can give you feedback straight away. Have a good day, guys. Keep up the good work, and I'll hopefully see you soon.